guys can hear me on Instagram as well as on YouTube. So like I said, we got a great strategy Sunday tonight. We got a lot of things going on. Nvidia will be the key in the bull run of the stock market, right? We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. So like I said, I hope you guys are ready. Before we start, if you're in New York, we got the June 10th event called The Future of Money. We're going to talk about real estate stocks. We're going to announce the speakers this week. Early bird pricing right now. Once we announce the speakers, that price will not be the same anymore. So before we go, make sure you text the word NYC to 89603, or you can click the link in my bio to sign up for that. You can sign up for that event in New York. We also have a virtual pass. So if you're not in New York at the time, we're going to drop a huge quantum computing play at that event, right? You know how 3 months ago, I told you what would happen with Nvidia. I said it clear. I told you, if you went to New York, the last time I was in New York, it was a free event for Martin Luther King's Day. I dropped a massive play on Nvidia. Explain to 200 people exactly how they can make a lot of money. Put it right out in front of them. And people that was at that event, they'll tell you in the comments right now. I specifically said you want to put it in Nvidia. Told them how it was going to work. Told them where the price was going January on Martin Luther King's Day in New York City and Brooklyn, right? 3 months later, people are up 16, 17, 20 times on the options. 100%, over 100% now on the stock itself. Several people, maybe even hundreds of people, have changed their lives by showing up to one event in New York City. Now, for people that say I'm lying, there was people there. People heard it, right? People were there. So I'm going to drop a huge quantum computing play. June 10th, New York City. I'm not going to release it anywhere else, so nobody else will hear about it. So make sure you attend that event or you buy the virtual pass. Link in the bio. $47 virtual pass with the potential to make thousands of dollars. I think that's an easy decision, right? And then that's an early bird price. It's going to be 97 here pretty soon. So let's move on. So I want to talk about a few things. We'll talk about Nvidia. We're going to talk about quantum computing tonight. I ain't going to drop the big play. We're going to talk about a few quantum computing plays that could happen. Then we're going to talk about some AI stocks. We're going to talk about XRP. Then we're going to talk about WorldCoin. And then we're going to move on to talk about the NYC event again. So with the virtual pass, you get a recording and you get the live. So like we said, we talked about Nvidia when it was at 130, 140. Now it's at 300. What is it, at 320 now? Approaching 350. We got earnings on, I believe, Wednesday after the bell. So with good luck, hopefully we'll pass 350 before that happens. My target on Nvidia was 350. That's what I said it would go to. And I said it when it was at like 150. It was a long time ago when I said this. Now it's reaching the barrier. And what's funny is there are a lot of influencers out there, people talking now they own Nvidia. Where was they at 3 months ago? They didn't know what was happening because they don't know what they're doing. That's what it is, right? So some of them do. They just missed it because all of us miss plays. Some of the good ones some stuff just miss. You don't see it forming, But a lot of people just jump on trends. The thing about copying, the thing about doing what somebody else is doing is that you're living in the past, right? It's because you can only copy what has been done. You can't copy what's coming in the future. So by definition, you always one step behind. You're always one step behind when you try to imitate and copy people. It's okay to do it a little bit, but you can't live your whole life like that. But let's move on, right? We're going to talk about Nvidia, right? So there's something even bigger on the horizon. That's the debt ceiling talks. The debt ceiling talks are what's driving the market right now. There's a lot of optimism that they're going to be solved quickly. Now, if people don't know, the U.S. has a debt ceiling, which means like a credit card. You have a limit, right? So when you get to that limit, you call your credit card company. You say, man, I need to raise the limit so you can buy more stuff. So that's what's happening to the U.S. right now. They got to raise that limit to buy more stuff, right? So with that being said, there is a lot of optimism that the U.S. will be able to come to an agreement where they can raise their debt ceiling. Long term, I think is dangerous, but short term, I think it's going to boost the stock market, boost a lot of these stocks that are coming up. So we'll watch and see what happens there. But Nvidia's earnings is coming on the 24th. And back when I would start talking about Nvidia in January, first time I started talking was as an AI play was in August of 2022. I really doubled down. I looked at my records because people said I wasn't talking about it that far back. I started talking about Nvidia as an artificial intelligence play 8/22 of last year, August of last year. So then I doubled down early of 2023. But Nvidia wasn't really a big stock. You know, people talked about it, whatever. But now Nvidia is driving the entire market. It's the biggest stock, the biggest movement. It's the one with the most growth by market cap of any stock out there. Nvidia has become so important that the earnings call on Wednesday is going to decide the entire fate of the stock market. If the earnings end up being bad, the whole market's going to crash. That's how big Nvidia is now. Nvidia is a huge play that will affect the entire market. There's going to be so many eyeballs on Nvidia on Wednesday that if it doesn't beat earnings, if it meets it or under it, it's going to be a problem. It has to beat earnings or it has to far surpass them. And it's going to affect the entire market going forward, right? So, like we said, is that there's a bunch of other stocks out there that may follow Nvidia's path if the earnings is possible, right? And there's, like I said, we've always been talking about Snowflake, we've been talking about Palantir Technology, we've been talking about AMD, and we've been talking about Nvidia, and we also talked about Google. Those are stocks that we've been talking about for a while, right? And a lot of those stocks are going to go up depending on what happens on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a big day for a lot of us. Like somebody just said, is it going to beat earnings? Now, if I had to make a choice, I'm not sure. I can't be sure of anything. When I started talking about it early this year, I was like 90% sure. I'm like 65, 70% sure that Nvidia is going to beat earnings pretty bad. I'm not as sure as I was about Tesla back in January, but I'm pretty sure Nvidia is going to beat earnings. And now, how much would I bet on it? It'd be kind of iffy, man. But I'm saying if I had to make a choice, you got $100,000, you put one way or the other, I'd put it towards beating earnings. Because I do believe that Nvidia will beat earnings. Like I said, I'm not going to go like hardcore like I did with Tesla. Because I was almost sure that Tesla was going to, even though all the analysts, all the market people said that it wasn't going to beat earnings, I was pretty sure that it was based on a lot of factors that I laid out to you in January, and it ended up far surpassing earnings. So with Nvidia, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it will. I'm more sure than not, but it's not as strong a conviction as I was with Tesla. So like I said, it's a big deal. If it does beat earnings, the market rally is going to continue. Those stocks that I just listed, Nvidia, Google, Snowflake, and Palantir, and AMD especially, is going to continue to go up, maybe even a lot more than Nvidia at that point. AMD is one that's is like a ghost or echo of Nvidia because it's also a processor company, a semiconductor company, and it also has the same business model as Nvidia. It's just a lot smaller company with not as much reach. So I believe that AMD is going to follow. And already it did a good week last week also. I believe AMD is going to follow Nvidia. Right? So I want to talk about quantum computing. Let me make sure we're going. So we want to talk a little bit about quantum computing because if you've been following me for a few years, one of the ways that I've made money for a lot of people, for myself, and also the people that follow me, is I have an uncanny ability to see what's coming next, specifically in technology. And I use that uncanny ability to predict what's coming next and capitalize on it and make a lot of money. In the CNC, my group that I have, Discord group, you can click the link in the bio, text the word CNC to 89603. You'll get a link to sign up. We've made an incredible amount of money because I teach those same principles in that group. And we also have leaders. We also have analysts that teach those same principles as well. So, and you go back to 2021, we did it with Mary and Wright on the blockchain revolution. You go back earlier that year, we did it back in COVID when we made a lot of money on the COVID vaccines that were coming up. We made a incredible amount of money on that. We made a incredible amount of money on Marin Riot. Then we made a lot of money on this AI revolution. The next thing coming is quantum computing. And a lot of people are going to say, what's quantum computing? Right? And a lot of people, I put up a post, a story on my Instagram, is that my senior paper in college, I studied computer science at Allspeed State University, graduated 2005. My senior paper was on quantum computing. A lot of these technologies that we think are new have been out for decades. They've only been perfected now. They've been out for decades. They've only been perfected now. So quantum computing is based on, I'm going to try to explain it in an easy way because I've been on this a long time. Quantum computing is based on quantum mechanics. Now, when we walk around in our everyday life, it's just regular mechanics, right? So we understand how certain things work. If I throw a ball, it's going to fall at a certain rate. I know that gravity is a certain force that has a consistent rate. I know how water moves. I know how air moves. That's all stuff that we know. Now, when you get down, the smaller you get down to microscopic levels, stuff don't work like that no more. So one of the weird things about quantum mechanics is that, for example, if my computer right here in front of me is black. So it's black no matter what. If somebody's in the room or not, it don't matter. It's always black, right? But the funny thing about quantum mechanics on a very small level is that it doesn't take a form until somebody actually observes it, which is very weird. Like that means that technically it has no form at all until somebody observes it. And when somebody observes it, it quickly takes a form right before the person absorbs it. Now, I know some of y'all have all, people is getting popular now. I've been talking about this for 10, 15, 20 years. There's a theory out there called the simulation theory. And the simulation theory is getting a lot of ground lately, but it's been out for 20 years. They created this in the 90s. Now, the simulation theory says that it's highly likely that we're all living in a simulation. And a lot of people just hear that and they're just like, oh yeah, it sounds right or whatever. But quantum mechanics is the reason why people think we're living in a simulation. I know some of y'all are gamers out there. So when you play these games, right? Let's say I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and I'm running down the street, right? The processor cannot create the whole world. So it creates only the part that you're in, right? And then when you go around a corner, it generates this world as you move through the city or whatever. Because it don't have all of it generating, you just walk through. That'd be too much processing, too much memory. So it generates it as you move through the city. Now, the people that believe in the simulation theory said quantum mechanics is exactly what somebody would do if they were simulating the universe. They would only show you the things as you observe it, right? So because quantum mechanics does not take a state until it's observed, technically it has all states at once. So I'm just saying this is not exactly how it works, but I'm saying instead of my computer being black, it's technically all colors until I look at it and it chooses black on a microscopic level. Now, with that being said, you can use that property of quantum mechanics to create computers. Now, a classic computer goes by bits, zeros and ones. It's a hard zero, hard one, and that's how you make up computers, right? That means that computers are a little bit, we process serially with a classic computer because of that. Quantum computers don't go by that, so they can take all states at once. So right now, if we have to process something on a computer, we can make a processor that's incredibly fast. But the limitation of computers today is that it has to do things in order. I'll give you a good example. Let's say we had a deck of cards, right? And my job was to find the ace of spades. And I was so fast that I can go through the whole deck in 1 second. So somebody hand me a deck, said find the ace of spades. Here you go, right? So long as the deck is small, that's okay. Let's say somebody puts 2 decks in front of me. Now my time has went up to 2 seconds. I'm still doing it pretty fast. Give it to you. Let's say it's 10 decks. Well, I can still do it in 10 seconds. Now let's say it's 1,000,000 decks. Now it takes me 1,000,000 seconds. Let's say it's 1 billion decks. Let's say it's 1 quadrillion decks. As that stack gets bigger and bigger, it takes longer for me to process. And I know you guys have used computers before, and you realize the bigger the files, the more records you got to go through, the slower the computer is. And that's the reason why. It's because computers, classic computers we call them, process things in order. Doop, 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 doop. Like I would look at this stack of cards. Now, because quantum mechanics it could do everything at once, it don't matter how big the stack of cards is, it would do it in a second. You can have one stack or you can have a billion stacks. It would still find the ace of spades in the same amount of time. Now, what does this mean? That means that all computers are going to get a lot faster, processing a lot of data, all at incredible speeds. And what does that mean for AI? What does that mean for processor companies? What does that mean for a lot of the companies that we see today? AI is going to be incredibly enhanced by quantum computing. Instead of it going through all this data slowly, it can go to it all in a second. So you can feed in an unlimited amount of data into an AI system, and it will be able to come up with answers at a lot faster than it can now, using a lot more data than it can today. Now, we're very close to implementing quantum computers in our everyday life. 2024, we're going to see an incredible amount of new companies like we have this year with AI, releasing quantum computing computers, releasing quantum computing solutions, or releasing all these things. And a lot of companies are going to go up extremely high based on this. Now, I'm not going to release this big quantum computing play that I'm talking about in New York, but I'm going to tell you some stocks that are going to do well, right? First of all, Nvidia, because Nvidia is already producing chips for AI. So when quantum computing and AI both come together in 24, AI can be implemented everywhere. In our everyday life, every single aspect of our life will include some form of AI, which will require chips. Nvidia is the biggest chip maker in the world. So obviously, one of the biggest, obviously Nvidia is going to benefit greatly. And I'm telling you right now, it may be a year, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, Nvidia will be the most important company in the world because of these revolutions, right? And there's another one out there. And we've talked about this, I think, 3 weeks ago, and it's called TSMC. It's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Almost all the global chains of semiconductors and chips come from Taiwan. We all know this because that's why the US and China fight over Taiwan so much. Semiconductors and chips are a lot more important than you know. It's just as important as oil. And as we move forward in the 21st century, it's going to be even more important than oil. So whoever controls these chips, controls these semiconductors, are going to control the world. Whoever invests in these semiconductors, these chip companies, are going to be wealthy, going to be rich. They're going to be the new wave of millionaires, billionaires in the new industrial revolution, which is Web3, AI, and these new technologies. And it's right on the horizon, right on the tip of our tongues. It's right there for the taking, right? And then that's who are going to be the next millionaires. The people who understand that the combination of artificial intelligence and quantum computing are going to create a new paradigm, which is going to take the world into a new world in which there can be a lot of money made by those who saw it before everybody else, right? So that leads me into my third point. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep these under 30 minutes from now on, as Meta. Now, the second company I said was Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. That's TSMC. TSMC. Let me check my people on what you call it. There we go. Like I said, CNC. This is I know I said it before. This is the last day for it at $67. I'm going to change that 97 tonight at midnight. So if you've been wanting to register for the CNC, which is a trading group in which we give free classes, we give guidance, we have events, like we got the event in New York. You're in the CNC tonight, you come for free. Tonight, even CNC, after midnight, if you're not in the CNC by midnight, you can't come to the event for free. You got to pay. If you sign up tomorrow, you got to pay anyway. So this is the cutoff for that at midnight tonight. You sign up for the CNC tonight, you get the live stream, or you get you could show up to the event for free. But at no cost, I should say. But if you sign up after midnight, that doesn't apply anymore. Even if you in the CNC, if you don't register by the night, you don't. It doesn't. You can't. You have to pay going forward. So with that being said, text the word CNC to 89603, or you can click the link in my bio, or you can DM me the word NYC, and I'll send you a link so you can sign up. So with that being said, let's move on. And so I'm going to talk heavily about AI and quantum computing tonight. So we understand a little bit how quantum computing works. We understand a little bit how AI works. We've been talking about it for a couple of months. So we talked about the companies that could benefit from it. Now, if you guys know my history, you know I've always studied computer history. I've always been involved in Texas. How early I can remember. If you guys read my book, I talk about that. My book, the book Strategic Millionaire, which is right now, should have started. The pre-orders are over, and it's actually going out now. So if you want to buy it on Amazon, you can actually. If the pre-orders are over, you'll get it in 2 days. Question: if we show up to the conference, we have to show the timestamp. Now you just have to register for the C. You go into the CNC and you register for the event. Then you get a ticket. Then you don't have to show your membership. You should have a ticket. So back to what I was saying is I talk about that in my book about how I've been in technology since I can remember when I was in elementary school. That's when I first was exposed to it. So with that being said, is that I've always followed the greats: Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Charles Babbage, a lot of the big names in computers and how the development of the computer affected different industries, how computers came to being, all the way back to the difference engine that Charles Babbage created in the 1800s, all of these things, right? And I've always admired Steve Jobs and Bill Gates' ability to create a new industry and profit off of it. And then with Mark Zuckerberg, I never really liked him because I felt like he copied. Everything he had is copied. And like I said, he's a very intelligent person. I'm not taking it away from him. He's probably a good businessman too. But even people who are good businessmen and very intelligent sometimes just get lucky. And I believe that's how he got Facebook. He just got lucky, right place, right time, and he capitalized off of it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying is that doesn't make him the level of Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. But when he stepped out on a ledge with the meta concept and changed the company, I started respecting him because I saw that he saw something that most people couldn't see. And I know there's a lot of articles, and we've been talking about this for years, is that there's a lot of articles coming out saying that he was stupid and Meta's a waste of time and it was an experiment that failed and Facebook this happens in every single tech revolution. Every single one, they always say it's over right before the big gains start happening. Meta, I'm pretty sure is still working on the metaverse. We talked about AI, we talked about quantum computing. Those two things are going to cause the metaverse to explode exponentially. Now you can have photorealistic graphics because you got faster processors. Now you can have a lot more data coming into the metaverse because you got faster processors with quantum computing and artificial intelligence. You can create personalities. You can create a lot of things that you couldn't create before. Now the metaverse is going to be 100, maybe even 1,000 times faster, better, clearer, and more interactive than it was before. Once these two technologies marry together and create that new paradigm. So Meta will be ahead of everybody else because they started early. And like I said, we've already been seeing gains in Meta's stock over the last 3 months because AI has significantly boosted Instagram's Reels. It's significantly boosted Instagram's revenue. And they've been implementing AI in a lot of their businesses to increase revenue, increase profit, and increase people, ads and all this stuff. So another thing that I read about earlier this week, and this is why I'm now a strong believer in Meta going forward, is that Meta has just hired a bunch of highly specialized quantum computing and AI engineers over the last few weeks. They flew them in from all over the world, paid them outrageous salaries, and have them working on these technologies to apply to the metaverse. Now, that gives me a lot of confidence that Meta is fully dedicated to these concepts. And it's already been going up. And I think Meta is going to be a company that shocks a lot of people in 2024, maybe even 2025. So let's move on. Like before we said, people that are just joining, we got the event in New York. The link's in my bio. You can DM me the word NYC. It's on June 10th. It's mimosas. We got a brunch on the rooftop. We got a rooftop brunch networking, and we're going to come down. We're going to talk real estate. We're going to talk stocks. We're going to talk crypto. We're going to talk about AI applied to different industries. And we're going to have Strategy Saturday, which I'm going to film. We're going to drop that quantum computing play. Then I'm going to have Strategy Saturday. I had to call it Strategy Saturday because people was getting confused. I'm going to call it, it's really just a filming of Strategy Sunday that we're going to play the next day. So you'll get all of that for, a pretty decent price. So like I said, if you're interested, and you also get the virtual link. If you're not, you can't show up. And the virtual link does come with a recording, so you don't have to be there. So if you're interested, DM me the word NYC, click the link in the bio, sign up, or you can just DM me any questions that you have. Or you can text the word NYC to 89603. So let's move on. So XRP, right? The price of XRP has been going up a little bit over the week, but I don't think that has anything to do with a conclusion in the lawsuit. I think this lawsuit's going to go on a few more months. A lot of legal analysts say it could be over as little as a month, or it could be 6 months. And I really don't know when, but I do know is that XRP is probably the last chance you'll have on getting 100-time gains in a stable crypto. And I know you're going to say Pepe coin. I know you're going to say other coins. But you got to remember it's risk versus reward. Those coins have incredible risk, right? And it's nothing wrong with risk. Risk is okay. And it's not a bad word, but it is a lot of risk with these coins. XRP has very low risk, as opposed to how many gains you can get. So risk versus reward, the ratio of risk versus reward, I think that XRP is the best chance that you probably got. Now, you can put in the Pepe coin. Remember, Pepe coin, a lot of times we look in the past. I made like 24, 25% on Pepe when I got out. I wasn't going to, I told you when I did it. I told you I got in, got out, and that was it, But the thing about Pepe coin is a lot of that was just pure luck. To make, put in $6,000, whatever, and the dude made $5 million. That's just pure luck. It's no way he knew that was going to happen. If he did, it's like some kind of inside information only he had. So you can't look at a lot of it sometime and like judge where you're going to go, what you're going to do, because some of that's just luck. XRP is not luck. It's a solid, educated guess on what could possibly happen, analyzing the risk versus reward and making a play. That's more likely to happen than not. It's not luck. It's not gambling. It's high. It's like a 80-20 chance that's going to happen. So it's not luck. I mean, it's not going to be gambling. It's a strong, educated guess, I could call it, based on solid information and knowing what could happen if the lawsuit is resolved positively. So, last thing I want to talk about, and it's going to scare some people, and I don't know about this coin yet, but sometimes things are scary before they become mainstream. So I still got an open mind on this, but I'm not going to buy it or nothing like that. No, I'm watching it. Now, one of the founders of ChatGPT came up. Now, he said he thinks that eventually in the future, it's going to be very difficult to tell the difference between robots and humans. Cyborgs and humans. He thinks it's going to be very difficult to know the difference. So his solution is to have people constantly scan their retinas so that we know that they're humans. So the first step in that process is to get all humans that are alive today to scan their retinas, and they'll receive cryptocurrency in return for that, about $30 in crypto, right? So he's created a coin called WorldCoin. And he's created these orbs, he calls them. And the orb, you put it up to your eye, it sends a type of laser in there, it scans your retina, saves the data to the orb, uploads it to its blockchain, and then you receive cryptocurrency for doing it. So the only thing that scares me about this is that seems kind of crazy. Like, I don't know. To me, it seems like, I don't know about that. But there's already people right now. The coin has already been released to a certain extent. There's people in Asia and Africa and other countries already going around scanning people's eyes, making $30, like paying the people and making $30 each time they scan somebody. So some people are making a lot of money doing this. But like I said, is that I don't know. But the thing about scanning eyes, retinas, it seems like it's just, just scanning the eyeballs, getting the retina. But you got to remember, the retina is attached to the brain. And it's the biggest, it's a huge, they call it a retinal nerve that's attached from your eye to your brain. It's the biggest nerve that goes into the brain, the biggest one by far. That's why when most people go crazy, they don't go crazy. Nobody ever goes insane by what they touch or smell or taste. They always go insane by what they see because that's the only way that much information can get into the brain. So that's a big nerve, and then the thing about scanning retinas is that it can be advanced to maybe take out some kind of brain information. And that's what I'm scared of. So I don't know about WorldCoin. It's an interesting concept. We'll watch it, see what happens. I'll try to keep open mind on it. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with that coin. So the name of the coin is WorldCoin. 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 I respect you too, Credit Shop. Took a long time to get this knowledge in several disciplines. I ain't just jump on here and start talking about stuff. I appreciate you. If I'm in the CNC, can I get my girlfriend a free ticket too? Yeah, you can get her a ticket. You can sign up for up to 2 tickets in the CNC. So just put her on there. So like I said, is that we do have that June 10th event coming up. I'm going to drop a huge quantum computing play based on what I've told you today. And let's just reiterate is that the stocks that could do well with the quantum computing is the big one. The big ones, Nvidia, AMD, Google, Snowflake, and Palantir Technologies. Nvidia's earnings are big on Wednesday after the bell. It's going to determine the direction of the stock market, especially the tech sector going forward. So it's something that the whole world's going to be looking at. It's not just us. Maybe back in January, it was just us and a few other people. Now the entire world is looking at Nvidia. Nvidia will tell us the direction of everything. There's 2 things that's on the horizon, right? Is that the debt ceiling and Nvidia earnings. Nvidia is like we said before, is becoming one of the most popular, most important companies in the world. Now I want to tell you this before I go. I could be wrong. Who else did you follow that said anything about Nvidia before 2 weeks ago? Maybe it's somebody else out there that I don't know about. Who else was talking about Nvidia 3 months ago? Maybe there's a dude or a female out there that was talking about it. I don't know. But it seems like everybody's talking about it now. Somebody says, I didn't realize we can get more than 1 free ticket. You can't bring like your whole family. And you got to tonight to do it, even if you're in the CNC. Wall Street Trapper, yeah, he's pretty smart. He probably was talking about it. But I doubt anybody else was talking about that until recently. And we're not talking about recently. We're talking about back in January. Back in January. Not now. In January or before. Not now. Not in the last 3 weeks. Not in the last month. 3 months ago. Name somebody that was talking about 3 months ago. Because the people you name